So for the double halo wrap, remember we started our sectioning in the front, measuring length of a rod and creating a curved parting to behind the ear. And that's how we got our first halo. Then we went from the back of our first halo down to length of a rod, made a horizontal parting so that we had a perpendicular line here, perpendicular line being like this. So a horizontal meets a vertical. So that perpendicular line, we then were able to use two working parts to create our center panel. And once we have the center panel in and the front halo in, that automatically gave us our second halo. And that's why it's called the double halo wrap. This wrap is used for larger heads. And now that when I wrap the back, I did kind of curve in and at the bottom and near the top. So you can see I have a short rod and then went into long rods and then ended up with short rods here. So that gives us that horseshoe look, which is part of what the double halo is. So now when we wrap our backside panels, those are next. So we always work from back to front. And when we wrap our back panels, we're just going to take horizontal partings to make our sections. And then we're going to pivot when we reach the edge of this rod. That's going to tell us that we have to start to pivot to make the turn so that we can continue going down. So I'm just going to section this out so we can have a look at it, and then I'll wrap it. So a straight horizontal section, another horizontal section, usually two rods in there, and then this is where we start to pivot. So narrow to wide and narrow to wide. We will need a few pivots. You can see for this wrap we're doing white and gray alternating. So this would be a little bit of a looser curl for a client, but it just gives us practice with different rods. So we can see our horizontal line, and this is another horizontal line, and then it starts to pivot. And we're just going to wrap that side really quickly. And then when we do our front is exactly the same as the single halo wrap. So if you need a review on that, you can watch the single halo wrap and it'll be exactly the same. So I'll just start putting some rods in here. So remember, your body position is important. We should always be in the center of our subsection. Our body position should be straight out from that. So you can alternate your rods, and when you get down to the nape area, if your mannequin or your client you're practicing on has shorter hair, you can go all gray in the nape area. Okay, so now another straight one. And we're alternating, so I need a gray rod. And now we're going to go narrow to wide. So our subsection uses a bit of a diagonal line, and we start to turn. Just using the bookend wrap again, but again, if you want to challenge yourself, go ahead and use a double flat wrap, single flat wrap. And of course, if you have any ends protruding, add a single flat wrap as needed. Another diagonal line so that we're narrow at the back, wider at the front, but again, remember, never go wider than the diameter of the rod that you're using. And this should be good to get us turned So remember, the double halo wrap is used for clients who have larger head sizes. And now I can just continue to go straight. So I can just wrap all this straight down and wrap my single halo the exact same way I wrapped for the single halo wrap. My front halo, I can wrap my front halo the exact same way that I did in the single halo wrap. And we will have completed the double halo. So I'm going to finish wrapping this, but you can see how that pivot causes those rods to turn, and then we are touching, both sections are touching now, and we're not going to have any drag or any hair left over here. It's going to cause that turn. Okay, so good luck. I'm going to keep wrapping, and I'll post a picture when it's all finished.